Hi, I'm the Reverend Russell, and this is the Hardest Question video blog. This week is week Epiphany 6A, and I'm responding to Carol Howard Merritt's post on the Gospel text, which of course is Matthew 5, 21 through 37. Again, we're still in the heart of the Sermon on the Mount. Well, we're close to the heart. I think the heart comes up in 2 weeks when we get to the Sermon on the Mount. I think that, or the Lord's Prayer. But this week we have all those body mutilation text, and I think Carol gets at a good point here, which she says it's not there's no problem trying to find the hardest question in this text. It's trying to narrow it down to just one, because there are so many different injunctions that if we do not follow them, result in us cutting off an appendage or plucking out our eye, cutting off our hand, our foot, our arm, our eye. Like, zombies are big these days, right? So maybe this is kind of like, this is a process of purification through zombification. Like, you could see all these righteous people who've plucked out their eyes and cut off their limbs, and they could be righteous zombies. Just an idea. I don't think that's the way I would go when I preach this. One thing we really try to do in this video blog is to dialogue with the post and say, okay, given that question, how then, as a preacher, can I preach this text? And man, this is a hard one to try and think about how I would preach this. I mean, if I could just go to, well, man, see, the good stuff finally gets good in verse 38, which is next week. The question is, how can we preach this Jesus raising the stakes, as Carol puts it, where it's not just murder you can't hate. Even calling somebody a fool makes you liable to the fires of hell. So the way she ends it, which is the great question, that we always can appeal to, is like, is this hyperbole, is this law on steroids really something just to convict us and drive us into the graceful arms of Jesus? Because there's no way that we can not only attain perfection in the face of the Mosaic law, but certainly no way we can obtain perfection in Jesus's midrash on that law here in the Sermon on the Mount. So I still haven't come down to how I'm going to look at this text and how I'm going to preach this text. But something that offers some hope maybe is the idea that if you have a brother or sister has something against you, you're at the altar, you should put it down and you should go be reconciled. That maybe all these cutting things off and plucking things out, these separation images, are really an illustration of how we cut ourselves off from our brothers and sisters. That when we act in these ways, these violating ways, these sinful ways, we really are cutting ourselves off from these relationships, and so that cutting off becomes a metaphor. So I would say you have cutting off versus reconciling. So instead of cutting yourself off, you should be reconciled. Please tell us how you are going to deal with this text, because it's a hard one. I am the Reverend Russell, and this is the hardest question.